Rob, Ruben Amorim says that they're trying everything. Do you think they need to do something in this transfer window, or do they need to take a step back and then focus on the summer window?
I think the number one is the transfer window, because I think they're really starting to plan now for the summer. Because a club like Manchester United, they're going to be ideally in a situation where they're 6 months ahead. So in order to get to the summer, first of all, you have to figure out what is your budgets. What does it look? What does the club look like now? And that's why I think maybe Mainu moving on is to balance the books, is to start preparing for what are we going to have in the summer? How do we get players? How do we get money and budgets correct? Well, we also need to release players, because like one of the letters from Manchester United this past couple of weeks was that they're in danger of PSR. So they're starting to clearly plan for that, and also plan for what does a Ruben Amorim team look like, and what does he need? So in order to get that, they're going to have to do it in the summer.
Talking of Ruben Amorim, though, what have you made of his start as Manchester United's head coach?
Do you know what? I think the number one thing, I really like him. I like who he is. I like how he represents himself. I love how honest he is. He's very truthful. He's very passionate. So I love that about him. And I tell you, it's been very, very difficult. I think what he's realized is this job is harder than what he predicted and anything that he could have imagined. This is way harder than that. And I think there's been a lot of things that maybe he didn't see, because, for example, he's looking at Manchester United moving from Sporting, and he's looking at it, and he's found that maybe all of those players are not going to play for him. They're not the right players for him. And I think that's where his big thing is going to be in the next 3 months. But I like him. I think he's the right guy for Manchester United. Are they going to be able to improve? And improve, I mean, on the pitch is in results, the right people, the right players that he needs. Because what he's done is he spent a few months looking at playing everybody and saying, who's with me? Who's with this Manchester United project and who is not? And I think he's starting to realise who's not right now.
Picking up on something Carve said there about the players who won't be around for around 4 or 5 weeks. That's the likes of Bryan Mbeumo, Amad Diallo and Nusa Mazraoui. I know some United fans will think, well, they have to go into the market because these players are going. But they're only going for 4 to 5 weeks, tops. So if they were to bring in players to replace those players going to the Africa Cup of Nations, when they return, what happens to the players that they brought? I think they're just going to take a step back, see who he's got in his squad to fill those gaps for that limited amount of time. Because I don't think they want to do anything that would suggest panic, which has often been aimed at Manchester United in previous transfer windows. I think there's a more subtle approach to how they're doing transfers. They've been pretty pleased with what they've done during the summer transfer window. Perhaps not filled every single gap that they wanted to, particularly in midfield. But as Carve mentioned there, the kind of players that they're going to be after, A, they're going to be expensive. They're very unlikely to become available in January. And if they are, the premium on those players is going to go up. So I think United might just take a step back and say, we've got enough here at the moment. Let's see if we can get through without the players that have gone to the AFCON. And when they do come back, it will be like new signings coming back to the club anyway.
But, Alan, does that give Manchester United, particularly the players you mentioned, Amad in fine form and Mbeumo, those are 2 key players for them right now. And potentially that could have, if they go far in AFCON, that's for a few weeks of those players not being there. That gives Manchester United's season a time to sort of reverse, surely.
Well, I was just about to say about the AFCON, it's not quite as simple.